Some cars built nearly a century ago can still cruise at 70 mph, proving they're more than machines. They're rolling pieces of history. American classics didn't just take us places. They defined freedom, luxury, and rebellion. From the roaring V16 Cadillac to the sleek Chrysler Airflow, these cars set trends, starred in movies, carried moonshine, and inspired designs that endure today. Join us as we rediscover 20 of the oldest American cars that didn't just drive roads, they drove history. 12 the 1930 Cadillac V16. The Cadillac V16 wasn't just a car, it was a rolling palace. Released in 1930, it stunned the world with its massive 7.4-liter 16-cylinder engine producing 165 horsepower, unheard of at the time. Designed by Harley Earl, it was the definition of luxury, with custom bodies crafted by Fleetwood. Each V16 was unique. Buyers could choose custom interiors, elegant trims, and even hidden wiring so that the design looked clean and futuristic. It was elegance mixed with raw power, but its glory was bittersweet. The Great Depression hit, and sales slowed. Only 4,076 V16s were ever produced, making them incredibly rare today. Driving one was like floating in velvet while commanding a symphony of horsepower. A car for kings, businessmen, and dreamers who believed bigger really was better. The 1932 Ford Model BIF Cadillac symbolized wealth. The 1932 Ford Model B symbolized rebellion. This was the car that put the flathead V8 into the hands of ordinary Americans. Affordable yet powerful, its 65 horsepower V8 engine gave everyday drivers the thrill of speed. It quickly became the darling of hot rodders and moonshine runners. Stripped down, souped up, and raced on back roads, it fueled America's early car culture. Its affordability meant almost anyone could buy one and make it faster. That accessibility turned the Model B into a canvas for young rebels who wanted to prove themselves behind the wheel. It was the people's car with the heart of a rebel, an American icon born not in boardrooms but in garages, racetracks. June 18, 1936. Cord 810, 820, the Cord 810 was unlike anything people had ever seen. With its coffin nose front and retractable headlights, the first of their, it looked like it came from the future. Even more impressive, it featured front-wheel drive at a time when almost no American cars did. This gave it better handling and a lower stance, making it look and feel more advanced. Its Lycoming V8 delivered speed, but its semi-automatic transmission caused reliability issues. Still, the Cord 810 and 812 remain among the most striking cars of the 1930s. Imagine gliding through a city in 1936 in a sleek machine. People would stop, point, and wonder if you had driven straight out of tomorrow. Hey, Noir Sevine. 1948, Tucker 48 Preston. Tucker wanted to build a car of the future. His Tucker 48 proved he wasn't exaggerating. With its rear-mounted engine, shatterproof windshield, padded dashboard, and the famous Cyclops eye headlight that turned with the steering, the Tucker was years ahead of its time. But innovation came at a cost. Production challenges, lawsuits, and financial troubles ended the dream early. Only 51 cars were ever built. Today, each Tucker is worth millions. It's remembered not just as a car, but as a bold vision of what American engineering could be, had it been given a fair chance. 1949, Oldsmobile Rocket 88. The Oldsmobile Rocket 88 is often called first muscle car. Why? Because it combined a lightweight body with a new overhead valve Rocket V8 engine that produced 135 horsepower. This combination made it a star on the racetrack, especially in early NASCAR events where it dominated the competition. The Rocket 88's victories on the track translated into huge popularity. It wasn't just fast, it was stylish, with sleek lines that hinted at speed even when parked. Owning one meant you weren't just a driver. You were part of a new wave of American power and pride. 15. 1947 Studebaker Champion. When you think of daring design, the Studebaker Champion stands tall. After World War II, while others were recycling old body styles, Studebaker went bold. Its wraparound rear window and narrow body were futuristic, and later models introduced the famous bullet nose design. It wasn't just a car, it was a declaration that the future had arrived. Practical too. It was lightweight and fuel efficient, making it attractive to families. But the design is what made people stop and stare. Imagine pulling into a 1940s neighborhood with this sleek machine. Neighbors would know you weren't just driving. You were making a statement. 14. 1949 Mercury 8 few cars scream cool, like the 1949 Mercury 8. Immortalized by James Dean in Rebel Without a Cause, it became a symbol of teenage rebellion and style. Customizers loved it. Chopped roofs, lowered stances, and smooth lines created the famous lead sled look that defined an era of hot rods. Under the hood, its flathead V8 offered solid performance, but it was the attitude that mattered most. This car wasn't just transportation, it was an identity. Drive a Mercury 8. And you weren't just going somewhere, you were announcing yourself to the world. Theme: 1948 Ford F-Series F1 trucks weren't always stylish. But in 1948, Ford introduced the F-Series, and suddenly workhorses became icons. The F1, the first in this legendary, was designed as a true truck, not a car with a bed. It had a wider, taller cab, better visibility, and the rugged durability farmers and small business owners needed. It was practical, dependable, and tough, but it also had style. With a distinctive 5-bar grille, this wasn't just the start of Ford trucks. It was the start of America's best-selling vehicle. And it all began in 1948 Dodge 12, 1953 Chevrolet Corvette. The Corvette wasn't just a car, it was America's sports car. The 1953 debut featured a lightweight fiberglass body, something unheard of at the time. Sleek, low, and futuristic, it looked like nothing else on American roads. Its 150 horsepower inline-six engine wasn't the most powerful, but paired with its light weight, it delivered plenty of excitement. Only 300 were made in that first year, all white with red interiors, making them extremely rare today. The Corvette wasn't just a model launch, it was the birth of a legend that still defines American performance. 1944 Deluxe. The 1940 Ford Deluxe combined style with strength. Its teardrop headlights and alligator hood gave it a unique look that still turns heads today. It was affordable, durable, and powered by Ford's V8 engine, making it popular with everyday families as well as moonshine runners who needed speed and toughness. This dual reputation as both family car and outlaws tool gave it a that still fascinates collectors. Picture racing through back roads in one of these. Headlights cutting through the night. Freedom and danger rolled into one. 1949 Ford F-Series F1 pickup. By the late 1940s, America was rebuilding after the war, and Ford knew families and businesses needed something versatile. Enter the 1949 Ford F-Series, the first generation of what would become America's best-selling truck line. It wasn't just a pickup, it was the start of a dynasty. The F1 combined rugged durability with everyday practicality. Its flathead V8 engine was strong enough for hauling, yet simple enough for home mechanics to maintain. The design featured a wider cab, better visibility, and greater comfort than earlier trucks. This truck bridged the gap between farm and city life. It became the working man's companion, equally at home on dusty fields or suburban driveways. The F-Series wasn't glamorous, but it represented something far deeper: America's grit and determination to build, haul, and move forward. Imagine tossing your tools in the back, the sun setting on a golden wheat field, and the Ford F1 rumbling down a dirt road. That's the sound of America's backbone. 1941 Plymouth Special Deluxe as World War II loomed. Plymouth released the Special Deluxe, a car that blended comfort, style, and practicality. This was one of the last civilian cars produced before factories shifted to war production, making it an icon of resilience. The Special Deluxe featured a dependable straight-six engine, smooth suspension, and roomy interiors. Its design had flowing fenders, a chrome-laden grille, and wide seats perfect for family outings. Plymouth's focus was affordability without sacrificing class. Many of these cars ended up parked during the war, only to be dusted off and driven proudly afterward. To families, it was more than just transportation. It was a symbol of survival and hope in uncertain times. Imagine your family in 1941, packing the trunk for a Sunday picnic, unaware that soon his very car would wait quietly as the world went to war. And 1955 Ford Thunderbird. While the Corvette aimed at speed, Ford introduced the Thunderbird as a personal luxury car. This wasn't just about performance, it was about style, comfort, and presence. The 1955 T-Bird featured a 292 cubic inch V8 with up to 215 horsepower. Plenty for spirited drives. Its clean lines, removable hardtop, and plush interiors made it an instant hit. Unlike the Corvette, the Thunderbird was marketed as a car you could drive every day while still feeling glamorous. The Thunderbird sparked a new category in the market, proving that cars could be both sporty and luxurious. It was less about racing and more about lifestyle, perfect for the rising middle class of the 1950s. Imagine pulling up to a drive-in theater in a Thunderbird. Neon lights glowing, music in the air, and everyone staring as you stepped out of the most stylish car in town. 1941 Packard 120 Packard was already synonymous with prestige. But the 120 brought luxury to a wider audience. Released in the late 1930s and refined by 1941, the Packard 120 blended classic Packard elegance with more affordability. It featured a straight 8 engine that delivered smooth power, along with streamlined bodywork that looked elegant without being excessive. The car's interior was a true standout, with fine upholstery and attention to detail. For many, the Packard 120 was their introduction to the luxury car experience. It gave middle-class families a taste of high society at a fraction of the price. Driving a Packard 120 wasn't just about reaching your destination. It was about arriving with dignity and grace. For 1947 Studebaker champion after the war, automakers rushed to refresh their designs. Studebaker shocked the industry in 1947 with the Champion, which featured the first all-new post-war body design. While others rehashed pre-war styles, Studebaker jumped ahead. The Champion's bullet-nose design and forward-thinking aerodynamics stood out. It had a reliable straight-six engine and was light, making it fuel-efficient compared to competitors. This was a car that symbolized optimism. It wasn't the biggest or most powerful, but it represented a fresh start in a country eager to move forward. Imagine stepping out of a Studebaker in 1947, your neighbors staring, knowing you weren't just driving another car. You were driving the future. 1941 Chrysler Town & Country Woody Wagon. Few cars carry the nostalgic charm of the Town & Country Woody Wagon. With real wooden panels handcrafted into its design, it was part car, part art piece. Originally marketed as a luxury family vehicle, it combined elegance with utility. Underneath, it packed Chrysler engineering, a smooth straight 8 engine, and roomy interior. But its real magic was its craftsmanship. Each car required skilled carpenters to build, making it both expensive and exclusive. Surfers and collectors later adopted the Woody as a cultural icon, cementing its place in Americana. Picture yourself loading surfboards onto a Woody wagon, radio blasting Beach Boys tunes. That wasn't just a car, it was California dreaming on wheels. 1948 Tucker 48. Torpedo. At the very top of this countdown is the Tucker 48, better known as the Torpedo. Designed by Preston Tucker, this car was decades ahead of its time. With features like a rear-mounted engine, pop-out safety windshield, and a third headlight that turned with the steering, it redefined innovation. Only 51 were ever built before the company collapsed under controversy and lawsuit, making it one of the rarest American classics. Each surviving Tucker today is worth millions. The Tucker was bold, futuristic, and unafraid to challenge the industry. It remains a legend not because of how many were sold, but because of what it stood for, dreaming big against impossible odds. Imagine stepping into a Tucker in 1948. It felt like piloting a spaceship, smooth, safe, and revolutionary. For many, it wasn't just a car. It was a glimpse into the future. From roaring Cadillacs of the 1930s to the futuristic Tucker 48, these cars weren't just machines, they were mirrors of their time. Each one told a story of America's journey, from resilience in the Depression to optimism after the war, to the thrill of speed and innovation in the 1950s. They remind us that cars are more than metal and rubber. They're expressions of freedom, symbols of progress, and carriers of culture. They connected families, inspired youth, and gave entire generations a sense of identity.